Previously on Women in.
Realizing that if I believe that life starts in the womb, then I am a mother. So then I had to acknowledge I am a mother.
Yeah.
You know, I did go. I may not have birthed the baby, but I am still a mom.
Right.
And I'm seeing on Facebook, seeing the baby kick. I know the gender. And
Right.
it's really hard because although I'm excited for them, there's no jealousy there. But there's this thing of I wish I had that feeling.
Right.
I wish I.
In the beginning, it was definitely very difficult for me. But that's why also I had to hold on to faith. The whole process, the whole time, I had to hold on to Holy Spirit like He was here. He's here, but tangible to me.
Right.
So that's to show you, as Christians, we go through these things. It really depends on how we take them, how we take this experience.
Right.
Is this experience gonna just break us? Or are we gonna take that experience and grow another spiritual muscle and then just go deeper? You know, so it's really how you see it.
Emily, if you could just maybe speak an encouraging word for those out there who are still hurting or believing, or even just a small prayer for those people who may not know how to deal with the hurt, just to encourage them to continue to move forward. I don't know if you can share that for us.
I guess one of the things that I would say that's really important, that's going to help, is talking about it. I think, not just talking about it just for the sake of it, but one with your mate, with your husband, your wife, either one that's going through this process. Talk about the hurt, talk about what's happening, and feel comfortable in that area. Feel comfortable in the hurt portion of it, as well as the happy, the hope portion.
Right.
Also find people outside, people that either have gone through this, or people that are going through it, that are in that process. Make sure you're mindful of who you speak to.
Right.
I think one of the things that we were very careful of is when we were sharing certain things is who we shared it with.
Right.
We knew, and it may not have been a malicious thing that people may say, but there are people that sometimes they just don't say the right things.
Right.
And you just want to make sure that you don't put yourself in that situation.
Right.
And it can be a close family friend, it could be anybody. Don't feel the need to have to share everything, because I think that's the part that that you have to guard your heart. You're already hurt. You're already wounded. You don't want to add hurt. On top of hurt. So I think that's the part that I would say. Yes, definitely talk, but find the right people. Find people that are going to encourage you. And faith encourage you, just emotionally, and they're always gonna care for you. They're always gonna be there. And I think it's so healing in that. There's so much healing in talking about it. And like we were saying before, don't sweep it under the rug. Don't sweep it and believe, well, it happened, I'm not gonna just say this anymore. God, I'm believing you, and that's it. You can still trust God, you can still believe Him, you can still move forward, but always talk about it, because it's going to come up. It's going to come up, and like you were saying, the more you suppress it, the harder it's going to get. It's going to come out some way or another, and it's going to get worse. So so I would say that's the biggest thing, is talking about it, and find ways to move on.
Right.
One of the things that Ryan and I started doing, like I mentioned earlier, we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment. So we moved in on a Sunday, Wednesday, no baby. Now we have this empty room. So a room that we thought by now would have a crib, would have a whole bunch of little things. It was just this empty room. It just had a couple little boxes, and it was just empty. It got to the point that we kept calling it the second bedroom. So we were even calling the baby room. It's just kind of weird calling it the baby room. And it wasn't until a few weeks ago that we decided it's time for us to start dressing this room up. We're going to paint the house, we're going to paint this bedroom, and we're going to start decorating it. Gender neutral, we don't know what's going to come here, girl or boy, but we know that there's going to be a baby here. And it's a baby room. So let's treat it as a baby room. And at first it was a little bit scary, because it was one of those, am I making a mistake? Is this too much? Is it going to be like one of those, and let's close the door because it's too... It actually wasn't.
Wow.
it was the most healing thing I think I've done in a few weeks, and
Wow.
it actually, I every day I catch myself coming out of the bathroom straight right there, and I just stand there and look at it.
Wow.
And all it does is create this hope of there's gonna be a baby.
Mhm.
And I'm believing it. I'm not pregnant, at least that I know of.
Not yet.
Not right now, not yet, but who knows?
Yeah.
But I know that there's gonna be a baby there. I don't
Right.
know if it's gonna be next month that I find out that I'm pregnant. I don't know if next year. I don't know when it's gonna be, but I know that it's our baby room, and we're gonna be treating it as a baby room. So find things that you. I'm not saying go ahead and paint a room and get a house with more bedrooms, but
Right.
find things that are gonna be that reminder of hope.
Right.
That constant reminder that, every time I look at this, it's reminding me that I am gonna have this child.
Right.
Don't hide it. Don't be scared of it. It is a scary thought.
Right.
Every time we're actively trying, and we decided that, as soon as we found out that we lost our baby, we
Yeah.
decided we're gonna keep trying.
Right.
We're not gonna stop.
Right.
And every month that we try and we get that result, not pregnant.
Right.
It's hard,
Mhm.
but we go through it.
Right.
And we make sure that we have each other,
Right.
that we talk about it, we
Right.
encourage each other. And as soon as, if we see the negative sign, it's like, all right, we gotta keep practicing, we
Yeah.
gotta keep going, and it is what it is. And we have fun.
Right.
Have fun with it. I think that's another part with all of it is you go through this moment, you're actively trying to have a child. Have fun throughout
Right.
the part. I mean, we make it fun, we make it joke, we make it so fun
Mhm.
that even if it didn't amount to actually having a child
Mhm.
in my womb, we still had fun and we're enjoying our marriage,
Right.
and we're
Right.
not having this loss cause a gap between us.
Mhm.
It's actually built every day. It's bringing us closer.
Wow.
The more we talk about it, the more we share our emotions. It just brings us closer together.
Yeah.
So that's my encouragement. Just talk about it with your spouse. Talk about it. Talk about it with people and family that
Right.
are going to uplift you,
The right.
and also the right people, and also find something that is going to keep you just hopeful. Find that thing. It doesn't have to be a room. It can be something small.
Right.
That every time you look at it,
Right.
you just know, I'm believing God for this baby,
Right.
and I know this miracle is going to happen.
Right.
Like you said earlier, our story's not complete yet.
Right.
We're at a phase of we've seen family or friends that have gone through this and they're on the other side. They have a
Mhm.
child, so that's hopeful in itself,
Right.
knowing that this is something normal that happens to other people and
Right.
that you can have a child, but our story's not done yet. And I guess that's for those just watching and listening, your story doesn't end here.
Right.
There is so much more to this.
Right.
There is something God is building in you through all of this process. So take every day as a learning curve.
Right.
Take every day valuable, and again, if it lasts a year, if it takes a couple months, so just be encouraged that your story doesn't end here. You're gonna have a child. You're gonna have that blessing that God already promised us.
Yeah.
It's a promise, and I'm believing in it. It's just His timing, and I'm accepting that whenever it's His time, we're gonna be open and accepting. So.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And make sure you stay tuned, because we're going to have a special segment at the very end where we get a chance to see that baby room and just some of the practical things that Emily has done for herself and her husband, the two of them, just special things that they did in terms of preparing that space, just so that you also have ideas of maybe you also had that room that never got a chance to be used yet. Ways that you can uplift yourself, ways that you can encourage yourself, and little things that you can do to still make that space special, to make that space sacred, so that when the time does come, that hope is still there, and that hope is prepared. So that's all the time that we have. Thank you both so much again. This is going to be something that you will have to put on repeat multiple times, because just the amount of wisdom and encouragement and truthfulness that both of you provided goes beyond measure. So thank you again for sharing your stories, for sharing your heart, for being open to even reflecting on all of this. And I know that others will be blessed, and we are also expecting the sequel to all of this when we hear how all of this has turned out, because we know and we trust that God will definitely honor just your faithfulness to Him through hurt and through pain and through loss. So, I mean, this is beautiful. Just maybe you can tell us a little bit about this room and just the things that you did. For those who are just tuning in, This is Emily's baby room, and after listening to all of the segment that we talked about, she just wanted to share some of it with us. So maybe you can walk us through just some of the practical ways that you have been using this room to heal, and the things that you did for yourself, you and your husband, in terms of just making sure you kept hope in all of it.
So one of the things, like I mentioned before, it's in order for us to just maintain the hope, we decided to actually make this room a baby room.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the second bedroom. It was just this, empty place with boxes around. And so for the past few weeks, we just kind of started, we got paint and we painted. We actually did the majority of the painting in this room. We wanted to make that special.
Yeah.
My dad finished the rest because we got tired. So we wanted to dedicate this room for us, just a bonding time of painting this room. So we did that ourselves, and we just kind of, just wanted to make it look like a baby room. Just started those. There was something in this section here where we, whenever we started experiencing the bleeding, God just had us in this room in the floor, just praying and just writing scriptures and praying over scriptures. And these are some of the scriptures. We had it in a different form, but we still wanted to incorporate them in the room until, our baby comes, and still believing for those same promises. So we kind of incorporated them in, and that's pretty much it. One thing that we did, and I didn't mention before, that we, aside from me in the baby room, until the baby room arrived, so we decided that this is going to be our prayer room. So we, what better, the hope room to be the prayer room, and just kind of building the walls for that. So little by little, there's going to be more additions, more things coming in, but this is kind of like the beginning stages.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you so much for having joined us in this journey for the last few weeks of just thinking about just the impact of loss and grief. And again, I'm so thankful for Rose and Emily, and just for the journey that they have shared and the things that they are continuing to process. We know that loss and grief, especially as it applies to miscarriage and pregnancy, is not a one-time deal and you can get over it just like that. And we've seen these two very strong women really take something that's touched them very deep and very personal, and touched their lives and their family, and be able to share it. And I know that there are many of you that have been impacted, and we thank you for just staying strong in this process. But also too, just knowing that there are great plans for you. There are great futures for you that are filled with joy and laughter and abundance, and not loss and grief and hurt. And so we just want to use this time to just encourage you, encourage all of you who are still on this journey, who have crossed over in the journey of processing grief and loss, and who are still just looking for a way to put a finger and a name to just the hurt that you might be dealing with. In interesting ways, it's impacted us in so many different ways, loss and grief. Or loss and grief has impacted us in different ways, whether it applies to miscarriage, in pregnancy, or loss of a child, but even loss of a spouse or a loved one, of a sibling, of a neighbor, a coworker. And so we know that each of you are in your own journeys, but we know that that there is something much bigger and much richer and much more promising than just us, that allows us to know that there is brighter days, and there will be brighter days. So for those of you who are still hurting, for those of you who still feel bruised, for those of you who have found some joy in some process but just need an encouraging word, this word is for you. Stand strong. Know that you are loved. Know that you are cared for. Know that the best is really yet to come for you. And I just speak a special word of blessing and of encouragement to you. For those of you who are struggling to hold on to your faith, who may have no faith at all, just know that there is a very rich and beautiful love and relationship in Christ, who desires to touch those very deep hurts and return the hurt of ashes to a beauty of joy, to the oil of joy. As for me, my faith has been a strong piece in terms of processing hurt and in terms of processing loss. To share some personal pieces for myself, as a young child, when I was just 2 years old, my biological father actually was unfortunately killed in a car accident, and I grew up just really dealing with some of the hurt and the pain and the loss, but also at the same time, for me, my faith in God was very big in healing and providing identity for me. And he sent to me a father who has been a dad for me all of my life, who really closed in the gap and just honored that space that my birth father has and always continues to have in my life and my family's life, but also has just nourished me and cared for me. And in the hard times and in the wonderful times and the joyous times and even in the memorable times of walking me down the aisle for my wedding, he was there to fill in what would have felt like a void in a very beautiful way. And I know, again, that there are many of you that have these very deep voids in your life, that these hurts that you wonder what and how could possibly fill it. And it's not in any way to replace the very real thing, the person, the place, the situation, but just know and be open that God can find ways to really touch you and to really provide for you some of those hurts and pains, simple ways to bring that together. And so I just want to encourage you. I just want to thank you for being strong. I just want to let you know that even if life feels very heavy and hard and dark at this point, just continue to be open to receiving love and receiving care and receiving the special things that are in store for you. And so if you're hurting today, know that I and all those that God has placed in your life are caring for you and praying for you and hoping the best for you. And so as you continue to process, as you continue to move forward, don't allow those hurts to bring you down, even if you have to grieve and process them, but let them touch other people's lives. Let them build you up. Let them strengthen you, and know that you too will find ways to find joy, even in the deepest of hurts. So know that you are loved and cared for, and we look forward to the great and wonderful moments that will come, even out of the hurt and the darkness that happens to all of us in different places of our life. Again, for those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Antonette Montalvo. Just ending this series, but never ending the journey that we're on for women in life struggles. And we just pray that you continue to be blessed by all the experiences and the words that you encounter here with us and with those around you. We love you, and we just hope the very best. We look forward to the great stories you'll share with us.